Hi everyone, welcome to Deep Diving with Samak Jain today. We have Vaishali Sagar with us. She is an analytics consultant at Johnson Matthey. She did a graduation from Arizona State University. In this episode, we will be talking about her journey, day-to-day life as an analytics consultant, and how she got this offer and what was her job search strategies. So thank you for joining in and let's get started. So first of all, Vaishali, thanks for joining in for this podcast. And yeah, we are excited to hear your journey. So can you please tell us something about how you joined Arizona State University and how you got this job?
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you. I mean, officially, thanks for just having me here. I know we have been circling around and then scheduling it here and there, but yeah, finally, thanks. How did I get started? So, yes, currently I am working as an analytics consultant at Johnson Matthey. Johnson Matthey is a UK based chemical specialty company. I am working in their supply chain, procurement, and continuous improvement. It's like an amalgamation of multiple domains that I am working. I started with Mathy in 23, September 23. I joined their procurement team. I was working as a procurement analytics consultant where I was working specially and specifically on their sourcing and procurement strategies, working on negotiating contracts with the vendors, analyzing their vendor data, customer data, and then bringing out insights in terms of their what are the low hanging fruits, where there are more margins to negotiate better deals with the customers or with the vendors. So mostly just into sourcing and procurement strategies. I kind of move a little bit vertically within the procurement and supply chain into a different team. The responsibilities, I would say, from the analytics perspective were kind of more or less same, but a little bit more into business and strategically driven role. It had a little bit of further hat of improving some of the existing processes and then improving some of the operations. And so this is I'm currently working in supply chain for a manufacturing plant, so maintaining data and then quality of the data. It's has been like a hassle within the company so far for specifically this particular location. So I have been in this role taking care of 20 plus manufacturing plants where I focus on consolidating and bringing all the data together from multiple sources. I recently worked on migration from all the data sources from like an ERP system to premises and then building the pipeline. So a little bit of data engineering, but still more connected to business, knowing which site is performing, how their profitability is been running, or how the operations are, or what matters more, the whole IT landscape for the site. So I think these business insights being in the company kind of helped me move laterally in this particular role and further drive the day-to-day analytics ad hoc or any kind of business required analytics that's needed. So I would say the current role is it's an amalgamation of both data engineering, making sure the data is of quality, at the same time being able to identify what kind of system or what kind of platform would be the right fit, and then being able to generate insights out of that. Prior to Johnson Matthey, I graduated in 2023. I did my master's in business analytics from ASU. It was a fast track course, a 9 months program, which went like just a snap, and it was I don't even remember. It just passed within. I just remember coming to States and
Yeah,
have
because
no idea.
9 months is like pretty less. Like people generally, like people don't even know how 2 years went by, but 9 years is like you get into US and then you
It's
start searching
already
for a job.
passed. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I came to US. I remember settling in for a month or so, and then the next moment I was realizing I graduated.
Yeah, because it generally takes like 4 months to get settled in,
Yeah,
like the culture shock you get, how, and then the weather, you get adjusted to the weather, like the winters.
yeah.
It's pretty hard. So doing that itself and then making friends out here and all those things and figuring out how to cook food and everything. Like those initially 4 months like goes by like this. And
Yeah,
then in general, people start, okay, now we have to search for internship. Then
yeah.
we start searching internship. And then we go, okay, now we have done internship, now we start.
Mhm.
So it's a long.
Mhm.
So how was like your like what did you started like applying for jobs like the month one itself, month two, or like how was this whole process for you?
Okay. So yeah, it was a very, very quick program. It was a fast-paced, I would say, executive MBA and a executive business course. course, I would say. The reason I kind of chose that a fast paced program is because I already had analytics background, and all I was looking is just to get a little bit more into business, but at the same time being able to drive a lot of analytics for the kind of companies that I'm working for. So yes, it went very very quickly where I was adjusting to the states and then to Arizona and extreme weather, but at the same time was just looking into the coursework and started looking for full-time roles and jobs. So I would say right after my second semester, which kind of ended in December 20, full-time started looking for roles. There was, because it was a shorter period course, there was no scope for internship, so I was aiming for full-time roles. I kind of did my networking and then did attend the career fairs in initial couple of months where I was just trying to learn a lot of things. But I think I would say December was the right hit where where the company started laying off, and it kind of had like a cascade effect where all the,
Correct.
I guess, fans started in December, and it had like a dominic effect all over the
Correct.
industry. So with from December and January, I kind of started looking for full-time roles, and it kind of went for good 4 or 5 months. I would say when you start looking for a role, you have no strategy. You are like, oh my god, all I
Yeah.
want is a job. I'm
Correct.
very very honest.
Yeah.
It's all I want is a job. I don't care. I just want to get. I just want to pause my
Yeah.
as like a as like an alien in a country. All you want is to just pause your OPT and then have like one offer, and then being in a position to negotiate and something like that. However, the batch that kind of graduated prior to us, which was in 2022, who were like the lucky ones, and they had like four offers lined up in a week
Yeah.
or so. I mean, they had like a different perspective on the job market and
Yeah.
how they kind of approached and how they were so vocal about what they want from in terms of compensation, in terms of the flexibility. But I think our batch 2023 grads, they were kind of suffering from mass layoffs and then companies being hesitant to not sponsor for
Correct.
immigrants, because I think it was just taking like a step back. It was again COVID mass hiring and imbalance in supply chain.
Yeah.
They kind of overhired and
Correct.
they had to
Yeah.
let go a lot of people. So during that time, people from our batch, or let's say who graduated during that year, were there in the market. Folks who kind of who went through restructuring or who went through layoffs were in the market. So it was
Yeah.
insanely
It was
crazy.
insane. I think, as like we were talked about, like I think my batch, I believe like my batch was one of the like on the borderline of it. I graduated in December of 2022. It was like a borderline. After that, it became like a. It was started to become very hard. So
Yeah.
before that, I knew like during my time, everyone in my like network, all my friends, all my like who used to study with me, people who used to study with me, we all were able to get like 2 to 3 offers in like 3 months, 2 months, and then we only used to. I believe like for me, it was like I applied for like 500, 600 jobs.
Okay.
And during that time, I got like 18, 15 interviews out of it, and got like 3 offers out
Wow.
of that. And all those offers for me, what happened was it all came in a single, like between 3 days, all 3 offers came in.
Wow.
So then I was able to negotiate with all three of them over there.
That's
So I think my batch was the last one to get those benefits. After that, it was very uncertain, because I will say that in my batch also, like people who graduated in September 2022, that time was the best. From September 2022, that Twitter layoffs, and I think they all started from September 2022 onwards. December layoffs were happening, but it was not having that much of significant effect, because it was like 1, 2, 3 companies were doing those layoffs during that period. And I saw one layoff during that period. Was like I was working an internship during Wayfair, and I knew that like it was my last week at Wayfair, and there was a layoff happened on that last week. It was the time was like September of 2022 that layoff happened. So we were seeing that impact, but like my group was like, okay, we were on the borderline. We just got saved, as you said, like when the time you joined. So you even joined your masters in September of 2023,
Yeah.
right? So it's like you were
September 22.
September 2022 basically, sorry, and you graduated like late in the September, and then late early in the Jan 2023 cycle.
May 23.
May 2020, in so 9 months. So I think you were like one of the people who got like very much affected, and seeing like your like your friends who like whom you made like friends, and now they are seniors. They just graduated. You were seeing like they were getting jobs, and you were like, okay, we are just left behind with this thing.
We were actually very very scared because just a month ago we had an impression from the university and from the seniors as well that it's not that hard cracking the market. But right after a month, it kind of started impacting a lot. As you
Yeah.
said, that in September 22, I guess Twitter kind of started, and then
Yeah.
in December again it was Facebook or Microsoft Microsoft.
Yeah.
But in January, when all the companies plan their resources and then
Yeah. The budget cut off and all those things started.
all these strategies part that starts in January, it kind of started having like a dominic effect, and the overall economy kind of took a little
Yeah.
shoot down, and then it kind of really scared us. But yes, the job market was hard, but I would say changing the strategy continuously and then being able to adapt to the market kind of really helped. If I have to like circle back and look at a little bit of journey, as I said, I started in December end or January initials, where I started with like a small goal of at least applying to, let's say, 10 or 20 every day.
Okay.
Once you, and that kind of worked for me. I started small, and with the coursework and everything, it was our coursework demanded, it was a business course, so we couldn't just be at home, attend classes, or just go for the exam. So it
Correct.
was, you have to be in the classes, and then you have to participate, and then there were lot of projects and then in class activities that were happening all at the same time. There was this capstone project that we had different, we had like multiple companies within ASU who had like tie up, and then we were delivering a kind of project for them. So it was everything at the same time. But starting early is something that I would recommend. Start early so that you can see what works for you or what doesn't work for you. So just applying blindly and being a little bit patient, knowing, I mean, I would say my strategy or my friend's strategy, they were not all same, but it kind of worked for everyone at the end of the day.
Correct.
I started applying, and then generic to all the roles within the data science, to all kind of like data scientists, business analyst, and then a business within intelligence, and then consultant, everything at the same time. But then how the market kind of reacted to the positions I was looking for, it was very much relevant to the kind of experience that I had.
Correct.
I came from a consulting background. I was working in Deloitte, so roles that were very much related as consultants, either it was in-house or working for a consulting company,
Correct.
or roles that were kind of aligned to the clients or kind of industry I already worked in. I already had like a background of analytics, supply chain, a little bit of CPG and retail and customers strategy part. So those were the kind of roles I was reached out for.
Okay. So when I talk about like the strategies, like you were talking about the strategies, for you were like more on the applying blindly, right? Like applying to more roles. So was it the only thing you focused on, like applying at least 10, 20, 30 jobs a day? Or was there like something else you were doing, like networking or like cover letters or like reaching out for referrals or something like that? Also, it worked for you.
Samak, I would say it kind of kept on refining. I mean, I
Okay.
kind of started with just blindly applying because
Okay.
I had like no strategy. I wasn't sure what's gonna work or what's not gonna work. So I kind of started applying with as many as I can, and then seeing where the turnaround rate was,
Okay.
focusing on those kinds of job roles and refining my CV. I still have like what 20, 30 different version of my CVs,
Correct. Yeah.
because it was so hard to just being picked up, being
Call for interview.
yes, the calling part was so difficult. I mean, it was just getting so insane to just get the call or just being shortlisted. I think with time, when I kind of graduated in May, when I was fully 100% focused on just applying and getting the job, I think that kind of, during that phase, it kind of really helped me in refining my strategies. I was reaching out to people, building my network from the start, like either whether it was from the career fairs or networking with the professors or just getting in touch with the seniors, making sure I will have a
Correct.
point of contact for future in case of referrals, everything. I mean, I kept on eliminating, but for me, I kind of started from everything at the same.
So what worked for you and what didn't work? So you said you tried referral also, right? You tried networking, and so did you got any calls from referrals or like any interview calls through those?
I would say yes, but not just only with referral, but making sure that whatever the role I was asking to be referred for, I am the right fit for that.
Yeah.
So refining your CV or refining your, having like a personal cover letter.
Correct.
I know, I mean, while applying, you just cannot have CVs or cover letters specific for that role, because your aim is to apply as many as you can.
Correct.
Because you just cannot put all your eggs in one basket. You would
True.
want to just I mean, it's, I would not
You yeah.
call it as being diversifying. No, you would just
Yeah.
want a job. So at that time, I think if I was reaching out for referrals, I was making sure that my CV aligns with the kind of role I'm reaching out,
Correct.
and then making sure specifically for referrals, I have the cover letter very well prepared, not generic.
Yeah.
Or I mean, if I am applying for a supply chain role and then my cover letter is like generically talking about analytics and nothing in the industry, it just doesn't give like 100% right fit, because anyway the
Correct.
market's so tough. So one thing which I would recommend apart from like starting early is having different variations of your CV or resume or cover letter. If you're having, identify your industry. If you want to start in supply chain, or if you want to go in any other industry as well. I mean, if I can just talk about supply chain, if you want to get into supply chain, I would say have a little bit supply chain oriented CV. If you have some background in supply chain, wonders. If you do not, then try to have like certain projects that can overlap within the industry. So I did certain projects within ASU,
Understood.
or apart from my coursework
Yeah.
within the within procurement or
So
supply chain.
so you were like a business analyst at Deloitte, right? And
Hmm.
you were doing like business analytics in like ASU. So that ASU, did you had any courses in supply chain that you got landed you
Yes.
in there? Okay, so you took some courses in supply chain over there.
Yes, so it was like it was a fixed course program, but there were some coursework which were related to supply chain, that were related to marketing. I mean, generic business overview, like you have some in MBAs, but not in depth. I
Understood.
did have something in supply chain and manufacturing, which kind of
Okay.
really helped me pick up back the role, but not 100%.
Okay.
What really helped me is my previous experience. And apart from that, the coursework project that I worked on, being able to align those projects with the job role. I might not have like 100% alignment with the role and the projects I worked on, but was being able to justify and communicate it to the hiring manager or recruiter how
Correct.
it aligns with the role that you're looking for.
I think yeah, that definitely too. Because what people think is like the resume should get aligned 90 to 100% with the job description. Which always like if it's 60 to 70% is also getting aligned, then I think it's a good thing. And in supply chain, if you see, most of the people will get that 60 to 70% aligned because it's either soft skills
Yeah.
or like if you have like basic supply chain knowledge, you will get maximum things aligned with it. And then you have like Excel, Power BI, or like SQL, right? These kind of things. I think that gets you mesh most of the things. The other part which remains is like your experience. If you have
Yeah.
experience, you get to that bar.
Right.
If not, because all other thing is mostly dependent on like the basic. If you see for the entry level roles, it's mostly dependent on like your basic supply chain knowledge. If you
Yeah.
know what supply chain, and then you know a couple of technical skills like
Yeah.
visualization or
Yeah.
Excel,
Yeah.
and then or like SAP ERP tools, or like and then those soft skills like communication, showed leadership, or like stakeholder management, negotiation, and all those kind of things.
I mean, yes, if you haven't got a chance during your coursework to pick up a project, I would recommend parallelly working on a project. So,
Yeah, I think there are
I
more guided projects available
yes,
in
yes.
Coursera too.
Not just in Coursera, but I think professors, even after your graduation, if you have like good relationships with your professors and with your seniors, they kind of really help you guide that path. So I was working as a research analyst under a professor during my coursework, and it was within the supply chain department. So I knew I wanted to be in that industry. That's where
Correct.
I came from. So I kind of deliberately looked for some part-time opportunities, even if they were not any type of monetary benefit, but still making sure that I have that on my CV. Yeah.
Like one more thing, like I was doing a podcast with he was like one of the head in like strategies and operations in BJ's Wholesale Club. So what he told me, and I like his approach, is that if you don't have any experience in supply chain, for example, or like data analyst or anything, go and like check with NGOs. Like if
Yeah.
you can support the NGOs, like hey, I will work on your like I will do data analytics for you. I will do like supply chain, try to see handle operations from you, and do like virtual work with them. You can put those as experience,
Right.
and then you will get that full time experience also in your CV, so that you don't like you are able to get cross that barrier that you don't have experience in supply chain. So it's getting very hard for you to get into supply chain
Yes.
because like projects and internships, everyone does this who are fresher, but very less people does those kind of things to get that extra experience added in their CV.
Yeah. So like what happens when we are looking for a job, it's like things that you have around
Oh
the
yeah.
head. You just want a job.
Yeah.
But one thing I would highly recommend people who are looking for a job or who are gonna graduate soon is to have like a long term plan. That's what
Correct.
my professor kind of helped me understand. It's not gonna be like a short term game. Take things as like stepping stones. If you're not being paid for something, it's all right. But if this is something that you can add it on your CV or just being able to share it with
Yeah,
people, just have it.
because it will help you get paid extra in the future. Like it will, like you will get those benefit not now, but in next three
Yeah,
months,
no,
6 months, once you get a full-time paid job.
yeah,
And because I think like working with like NGOs, those kind of things, you don't also have to put that much of effort that you have to work 40 hours a week or 20 hours a week also. It's just if you do like basic data analytics, prepare a dashboard like 5-10 hours a week, I think it's also good for them because you are doing it for free and you are getting that knowledge, and then you are also building some contacts over there. So it goes like hand in hand, but this thing can't be done when you are only looking for a job.
yes, yes.
This has to be done, like for example, I'm starting to do my masters now. I know I'm a fresher and I will graduate as a fresher, so now you have like 1.5-2 years with you to get those things done.
Yeah.
It can't be done like, hey, I'm graduating this December, now it's September or October, I'm applying full time to a job, and now I'm also looking for to get a experience on the side. That won't work with that. This has to be done by.
Yeah, I mean, historically it might have worked when the market was in a good shape, but now when market is, and then there is a lot of competition at the same time,
Correct.
you have to plan a little bit strategically. If you know that you're gonna be a fresher with no experience, I would highly recommend taking capstone projects with utmost
Correct.
seriousness,
Yeah.
because that's where you're getting your real world experience, where
Yeah.
companies are, even if they have some not the real time problem, but like a simulation of a real time problem, you are still connecting with the stakeholders, you are
Correct.
still learning and being able to apply it real time. So
Yeah.
that kind of really helped me in establishing the relationship, knowing how things work within the state, and at the same time work on a real time project. They gave us as an option that if you want to come to office you can, otherwise it's fine, but you take it with utmost seriousness.
Yeah.
I
You
had
do.
like
Yeah.
awesome team where we all of us kind of shared the similar vision, and we kind of really took that seriously, and I think we did like a great job within the capstone project. And I'm sure the company which came and the client that we had, they were very well satisfied with the kind of the quality of work that we delivered, at the same time how we delivered, how we presented our work. So
Correct.
we had different expertise. I came from a consulting background, so I knew a little bit of more presentation and then designing a solution. Somebody came from analytics background who was kind of more, who had like strength within the core analytics part. So working as a team is something you can really learn within your coursework, and then being able to just take things seriously a little bit. I mean,
Yeah,
you don't have to.
definitely. Yeah, you have to take your job seriously, otherwise it won't be a easy thing to go
It
through
is
it.
not. It is not.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it is not.
Yeah, definitely. So, like, to ask you, like, how much generally, like, it took you, like, so you graduated in like April, May, right? So, like, how much time it took you to get this job, and like, what was the whole process? Like, how was the interview process? How much days it went by, and what type of questions were kind of asked?
I kind of started full time, yeah, in May, and I had multiple offers by June, July. July end, I had two offers, and then one few towards the last stage. So by the time I was in July, I had multiple offers during that time. I mean, this kind of strategy is kind of refined definitely after I started like full time applying, but I was already applying and built kind of a little bit of network in from January to March and April, where I was constantly looking for referrals or just reviewing my CV with seniors, or just taking out time to know their strategies, what worked for them, or just getting their feedback on my way of applications, or just different things. And I think I must have given more than 20-30 interviews, and towards the second and last stage, few worked, few did not, but I was kind of happy that whatever the kind of strategy I was opting for, it was working and I was getting interview calls. Few to share, I kept on refining and having different version of CVs.
Correct.
And one trick which I did was just having the JD and copying it to Chat GPT and knowing some of the ATS keywords.
Okay.
So just including them in the CV, because I think during that time it was such a fuzz about, oh my god, CV is not going through the ATS and then it's not picking up the keywords.
So
It's being
correct. So how you used to put that keyword? Is it like in the skills or like in the bullet points you got?
in the skills, I mean,
In the
in the
skills
skills, and then also making sure if I have similar kind of experience, then elaborate
on the
that
bullet point. In the
experience, yeah,
bullet point, yeah.
elaborate that kind of experience a little bit more, and then chopping rest of the CV. I mean, just having multiple versions, that was the key kind of work. And for the role which I applied at Johnson Matthey, yes, it was whatever they were looking for, it was mentioned promotion within my CV.
Okay.
The kind of experience they were looking for, more or less, I would say 80% was something that I already have done, or or probably how I can add as value. So
Right.
it was a pretty much good match.
So how many rounds of interviews happened for Johnson Matthey?
Oh my god, I went through five rounds of interview.
Oh my God. So like how much time it took you to go through all those rounds?
I got the first call by the end of May, and I received an offer in August at Mathi.
June, July, and August.
Yeah, so companies were not hiring. Even if they were hiring, they were very skeptical.
Yeah.
Or even if they were skeptical, they were taking their own sweet time, understanding, oh, whether they want this person in their team or not.
Yeah.
It was a very, very, very long process. And I mean, for so many companies that I interviewed for, where it was such a perfect match, and I knew that the hiring manager kind of really liked the profile and I would be able to justify the role, there were a lot of hiring freeze. There were a lot of chopping the roles, and then there were a lot of internal candidates that were absorbed in the role. So I think most of us, everybody have kind of faced similar
Correct.
kind of things, that they have paused their hiring, or they would not be open to sponsor the visa, or I mean all sorts of permutation and combinations, I would say.
Correct. So like can you like tell us like what was the first round, second, third, fourth, and like what was in those rounds, those 5 rounds?
I think the first round in most of the generic to all the hiring process was once I apply, the recruiter, generally from the HR team,
Yeah.
reached out. Depending upon the size of the company, if the company was of a smaller size or a small cap company, directly the hiring manager reached out. If the company was well established in a large company, it had like a process defined.
Correct.
Usually somebody from the HR or recruit from the HR team kind of reached out.
Try to get more specific on like for this company itself, for Johnson Matthey, what like was it HR or like was it hiring manager who reached out?
It was a recruiter.
It was a
It was the
recruiter.
recruiter who reached out. Once the CV was shortlisted,
Yeah.
we had like a brief 30 minutes discussion where standard questions, just tell me about yourself and then how did you get to know about this company. So this role was not from the referral, and it was, I think I just applied as soon as the role was open. So
Okay.
applying early, and referral didn't work specific to this case, but applying early for this role, because I guess they only just pick up few relevant
Okay.
and then reach out the recruiter. And I applied on 25th, I guess, May, and the next week recruiter kind of reached out to me. We had like a generic discussion on my experience so far, and then why I'm looking for this role, some high level
Yeah,
generic
like
discussions.
did they talk about like your visa status and like those questions also, like do you need sponsorship and
They did not, but I kind of made sure that I asked them. So recruiter wasn't sure of it, so she kind of circled back to the hiring manager, and then they kind of, now I think company, this is a UK specific company, so
yeah.
they were not very clear with the answer. Usually companies within states, they mention that whether the sponsorship is available or not. So the recruiter was again from UK, so
Yeah.
she wasn't sure the kind of process it works for immigrants in US. So she kind of circled back with the hiring manager, and
And got that
they were
approval.
they were they were a little, they were hesitant, but they were open for the right candidate.
Okay, so they were like, let's go with the interview. If we like you, we will give you. Like we
Yeah.
are okay with giving if we find like we are satisfied with you,
Yes,
basically.
they were open. They were open.
They were open.
Yeah.
Okay, so like from first interview now to going to the second round, how much time it take and what was the second round?
The second round was with the procurement team, the hiring
Okay.
manager, and a couple of few more folks were there, where we kind of discussed more on what they were doing and how I can contribute, what I have done in similar situations or with the similar kind of experience. So it was, I think, 1 hour discussion.
Yeah.
I think it was more on knowing the stakeholder management, the communication skills, the relevant experience, how your experience can be helpful going forward with the current issues that we have, and what next vision
They
you
have. So
have for them.
basically, what this was like, this what they telling you, like what we are looking for, what and why you think, why they think you could be a good fit, and then they were asking you like, hey, have you done something like this? Understand like how you handle those situations that
Yes,
you might
it
face.
was more on the resume, and then more grilling, what's
Under,
and whys.
like understanding the like root cause of the how you solve those issues. Right?
I think they were trying to analyze whether my experience written on the resume will be relevant for them or not.
Correct.
So it
Yeah.
was not technical, but it was more on the resume and grilling. So one
Okay.
tip to just be whatever the version you are applying for the role, make sure you just have like a quick gaze before the interview.
Yeah. Know, like, at least know what resume you applied with.
Yes, know which yeah, version you have, because
Yeah, because after you have 40 resumes, you don't even know which resume you applied within this job, and
yeah.
you're not even sure like which resume to go through.
Yeah. So on, I think usual platform, which is what Workday. No, what's the common?
It's a Workday or Greenboard,
Yeah,
Greenhouse,
Workday. So
Green.
it usually have your with the resume
Yeah.
on your dashboard. So make sure have that copy handy.
Yeah, that's true. So it was a 1 hour round. So like, how much time did it again take to get to the third round?
Oh, there were a lot of time zones issues because
Okay.
everybody, it was a global strategy role, and most of the folks were in UK. So they used to call me like 2 in the morning or 7 in the morning, and we were like
What?
scheduling. Yeah, we were just
So
going.
what they like when they used to schedule, what they not like, hey, like checking the time difference over there?
I have no idea,
Oh my
but
god.
yeah.
Okay. So did he used to pick the call at 2 a.m.?
I mean, yeah, 11 or 12 was my hard stop because I have to like wake up again in the morning 7 just to start apply. So we used to have like, it took at least 2 weeks to have third round
Correct.
interview.
Get a correct time for the
Yeah,
third round.
two.
So what was like third round about?
So they, within that 2 weeks, it took some time in knowing the next steps, them evaluating and
Yeah.
knowing the next steps. And within the second week of the waiting time, they gave me a data set, their live dump of data set. It was a live, not live, but a take home assignment,
Okay.
analyzing the data and presenting it at the same time in front of stakeholders.
So like presenting means, is it like doing the analysis and presenting like
Yes.
a dashboard?
Yeah. So it was both analyzing the data. They gave like a shitty data. So they were looking for like data cleansing part too. It took me some of the key skills that and key tools I used for the whole process. Cleaning the data, making sure it's like consistent and ready for analysis. Then analyzing it within, I think I don't remember whether it was Tableau or Power BI, but either of them I used. And then presenting it in front of their data delivery lead, and then
Okay.
some director, procurement director, or there was one the hiring manager. So 3-4 people were there, and in the prior interview there were procurement leaders from different geographies. One was from Mexico, and then one from UK, and two for UK and one from Mexico. So cleaning and then loading basic SQL, Excel. I think the tools have been so far consistent, but it's the presentation part, and then how what you are bringing out. They are not looking for like a very fancy. No hiring manager or no company looks for like the fanciest thing, but meaningful, I would say. Simpler
Yeah.
the better. People in the industry still are not able to use a lot of analytics when it comes to like very sophisticated AI and chatbots, because they are still dealing with a lot of shitty data, and then they are not able to make sense out of it.
Correct.
Being able to deliver the insights was the key.
So then the round happened. So like now moving to the fourth round. What was it? Like, because you already had like HR group discussion, presentation. So like, what was left for the fourth round then?
I would say the hiring manager and the team liked the profile, but they were still unsure whether they want to hire or not, given whatever was going on within the economy. So the company was anyway going through restructuring. They just had some layoffs before I joined. So they were very, very hesitant in hiring a new person, knowing how the company was doing and what all was going around. So it took me a lot of chasing, honestly. I had
Okay.
reached out to the hiring manager or to the recruiter a number of times.
Okay.
So I think that constant chase and then being able to justify why they need me in the team.
Understood.
So
So
that
like, so like when you used to reach out to them, like what was like kind of mail you used to write?
I was just following up. I mean,
Okay, so like on
following
the
up.
results and like, hey, why I think a good fit, and
Yeah,
like
even if
sharing.
they were not, even if they didn't even think that I was a good girl, I made sure that every interview I had, I was taking 5 minutes from the interview just for the feedback,
Yeah,
just to make
understood.
sure that I am open to learn further, because this is
Okay.
not the first or the last interview I am looking for. I might have like 10 other interviews, but getting that kind of feedback really helped me in having the right kind of attitude during the interview. Yeah.
That's I think, yeah. So like how many days you got those like fourth interview? Like how many days of chasing you got that fourth interview?
That I don't remember. I remember reaching out to,
2 weeks, 3 weeks, and like 4 weeks.
I think the fourth to fifth was a bit hard, but
Okay.
at the same time I was doing some other interviews and searches, so it was going in parallel. But I was just still it took another 2 3 weeks, 3 weeks I would say,
Okay.
from
To get to the fourth round.
to get to the fourth round. Yeah.
And what was the fourth round?
I again had like a 101 with the hiring manager. So far, I had like other stakeholders, all other directors, and other from different regions. But that was primarily with the one I was going to. So
Okay.
the hiring manager was there in all three rounds. So it was more on what they are expecting now
Okay.
from the role, from what kind of responsibilities and what are the things that I would be working. It was more
Okay.
on that.
And
And
then the fifth round?
fifth round was with the HR.
Okay. Like to get the offer and
Offer took another
okay.
or so, but it was more on the compensation that I was looking for, and then
Okay.
the role that they were offering, or they were hiring for a fresher role but ended up hiring a senior person, so they had to do some kind of logistics at the background.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like if they hire, they need to post the job again. They need to make sure
Yes,
you apply to that job.
yes,
Then
yeah.
wait for a week, and then get a new offer letter and send it to you, sign again, and then the whole process. It's like 2 to 3 weeks of process. I think that happens when you.
Yeah, so it took it. I kind of joined another company during they were doing their all process. I was like, I
Okay.
can't wait forever.
Yeah.
My clock has started, and I took another full time role, but I just did it. This is because I have been in supply chain, and that's really what I knew I really wanted to do. So as something temporary, I kind of picked up another role for 2 weeks as full time.
How you were able to leave it? Like just
Because I knew what I wanted to do,
okay. Yeah.
and I knew they will roll out something, but I just couldn't rely completely on that. Yeah, because the whole process was so grilling, and then it was so stressful that you can't just put all eggs in one basket. I was
Correct.
like,
That's true. I think that's definitely true. So, like as you said, like you were able to like. So when did you put the resignation after 2 weeks? So, like, how was that?
oh my god, I wish nobody get to know that. But yeah, the day I received my offer, I instantly sent out the resignation, and then I talked to the hiring manager. They were nice folks too. So I kind of explained everything very, very honestly, that because I was on like final rounds of few other
Yeah.
organizations. So I kind of communicated out and loud that I was still, there were some final rounds pending the moment I started this organization, and something materialized, and I think that I will be like a better fit for that role.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
yeah, and rest
Well,
is history.
yeah, it's nice to hear. So, like, okay, so it was like a very challenging, like those 3.5 months to go towards
Yeah.
that interviews.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, like, for sharing your whole journey of how you started from
Mhm.
ESU to here and how what you do in day to day at
Mhm.
Johnson Matthey. Thank you so much for sharing and sharing your experience today with all of us,
Yeah,
Shali.
no worries. Thank you for having me. And then it was just awesome recapitulating everything. So yeah, yeah. I wish it's kind of, I mean, helpful for
Yeah,
people who are looking for roles at the moment.
definitely. But thank you so much, Vaishali, for joining and yeah,
No
bye.
worries. Thank you.